Hello and welcome to another 2 Network match report in the Adam. It's finished at St James's Park, it's finished at Newcastle United 0, West Ham 3. It's been an absolutely awful day. It was an awful game. The atmosphere in the ground I thought was really awful, and for whatever reason, you know, this defensive solidity that's sort of been the hallmark of our previous 4-game unbeaten run, 3 wins and a draw, just completely went out the window today. Against a side, West Ham, who absolutely have these kinds of results in their locker, but you know, as much as West Ham can very, very easily score 3 or sometimes 4, like they can so easily go the other way and be a team that can very easily concede 3 or 4. They're so inconsistent, they're so up and down, West Ham, and unfortunately for us today, the better West Ham team turned up and were clinical. I've got to say that West Ham fully deserved the 3 points. They just took their chances. I mean, we'd seen in previous wins, you know, if you look at Watford, you know, Watford wasted a hatful of chances in the first half before we came out in the second half and, you know, stole the game basically with a 1-0. You look at the Bournemouth game, and Bournemouth were guilty of missing a lot of chances as well. So you've got to say at home, you know, we have been guilty of you know, opening the door to these chances, and it's only through the other team not being able to be clinical and prolific in terms of finishing those chances that we've gifted them, that, you know, the last few games have been positive for us. Now against Burnley, different sort of game in the fact that away games have a different feel in terms of atmosphere. Away games have different feel in terms of you know, you'd expect to concede more chances away from home, and the home team dominated, which they sort of did. But I thought today there was just this air of expectation in the ground that it was never meant. I don't think our home fans were ready for a tough fixture, and kind of forgetting that West Ham have got depth, they have got quality, and as much as a lot of the time they're in disarray, particularly at the back. I mean, today they were guilty of conceding a lot of chances, but we just didn't take them. That was the difference. You know, Rondon had about 7 opportunities today, Perez had about 4, each of them managed 1 shot on target. You know, and therein lies the story of the game, if you will. You know, West Ham were, you know, West Ham, as Newcastle usually are, had didn't have the minority of possession. They had 41% all game, yet they were just more clinical, more effective when those chances came about. And for the first goal, so I must confess, I took part in the 11th minute walk-in, and obviously we scored on about 10 minutes 55 seconds. You couldn't write it really, but having seen the goal, I mean, it was Kennedy who was kind of doing the defending against Snodgrass, who cut inside on his left, as Richie might do quite a lot on that on the right wing for you know, of his wing, and the ball whipped in. I mean, Chicharito's just stolen in between Cher and Fernandez, who again in the last few games have been absolutely outstanding. But it's right in the centre of the 6-yard box. Chicharito's there, and it's a very, very weak goal to concede so early on. And we talk about, you know, good times to score, bad times to score. Oh, so good times to score, bad times to concede, and for us, so early on in the game. And I was in the tunnel. I was sort of you know, in one of the entrances. So I was kind of watching a very thin column of the game for the first 11 minutes before I took my seat. And the atmosphere wasn't one that was loud or boisterous or getting behind. There was a bit of chanting here and there because we had a couple of chances in the opening 10 minutes. There's a free kick. There was a chance for Richie as well. But it wasn't, you know, having been at Turf Moor, and again, it's difficult to equate away fans, away sections to St James's Park. I mean, there shouldn't be. We should be buzzing, we should be jumping, but I think this is Mike Ashley under, is what he's done to Newcastle United, is that he's, I mean, there's just, you know, for the people who were taking part in the protest, trying to, you know, show, you know, almost voting with their feet, trying to create a visual representation of people who are that desperate for change, that are that desperate. And the reason I took part in it is because I think, you know, we've got months left of Rafa. I don't think, without any pressure at all, why would Mike Ashley spend in January? Why would he give Rafa exactly what this squad needs when he feels that Rafa's probably good enough to keep us up like he did last season on a shoestring? It's what he banks on, Mike Ashley. He doesn't like to outlay money unless it's absolutely necessary. So I don't, without any pressure at all, and I'm not saying that taking part in protests will 100% mean that he will back, or it'll be, if he does back him in January, it's been 100% because of these protests. It's not. It's a build-up of lots of things, lots of variables. But for me personally, doing nothing will result in no change. History never changed with people just going along with the status quo. That's never happened. But I understand and I appreciate people who don't want to protest, who don't want to boycott, for example. There's lots of different points of view, and, you know, we're all on the same team. So I think criticising those who don't, that's not helpful. I think people who criticise those that do want to get involved with protesting, that's not helpful either. So I think it's kind of, it should be a live and let live situation. People who want to boycott, other people should understand and respect that, you know, it's Mike Ashley that's driven them to it, out of desperation. And those who don't want to, there's lots of different reasons why you might not want to boycott, you might not want to waste money. You might think that, oh, well, I've been to the match every weekend for the last sort of 40 years. I don't want to make my kids miss it. There's loads of different reasons why people don't want to get involved in protesting. There might be some people who simply don't believe it'll make a difference, and that's their opinion, and that's okay as well. But I'm just telling you why I'm going to be taking part in the boycott against Wolves, and why I took part in the boycott in the 11th minute today. But for me, we as a home crowd, we just didn't do enough. We played poorly, yes, and I think that's player performance, and I think tactically as well. I thought we pushed too high up. I thought the back line was too high up, which essentially led to their second goal at a time on the hour, at a time where I felt the game was still in the balance. And I think the way we changed our shape a bit as well in the second half probably wasn't helpful. Where Shelby came into a three-man midfield. I just think given how West Ham's pace and movement was such a problem for us in the first half, I don't know why given that we don't have pacey defenders, we've basically got Yedlin who's pacey, Manquillo has a little bit more pace than the centre-backs, but to allow somebody like Chicharito so much space in behind, so dangerous, and he punished us, and you know, he was very, very clinical with his chance on the hour. Fed in, and he just had so much time to dribble towards goal, pick his spot, and slide it past Dubravka at his near post. And at that point, it was game over. And at that point, you know, the atmosphere absolutely turned toxic. But even before that, there were groans, there were sighs, there was swearing. If it was one pass went astray, we didn't help ourselves. Like that's an atmosphere that helps only the opposition. It happened against Brighton. Tuts, eye rolls, sighs, groans. That's not supporting. If a player does something wrong, he doesn't mean to do something wrong, encourage him so that he doesn't make the same mistake next time. He's encouraged to have the confidence that, yes, I am good enough, I can overcome that, I will not make that mistake again. If we get on players' backs every single time, players will not want to try anything. They will not want to do anything that is seemed a risk. You know, Shelvey might not want to spray a ball that could unlock a defence. You know, Perez might not want to make a couple of turns and jinky runs in case that he loses out and he gets pelters. And for the record, you know, Perez was trying things today and he probably came closest to scoring for us today. Yet the people cheered when he got subbed off. That's just disgusting, man. I don't understand it. And, you know, even if he has had a poor game, which, yeah, he had a couple of chances that he could have finished, and I think the header from the corner in the first half, I think was a very, very good chance that he should have done better. He'll know he should have done better, but he was out there working his, you know, heart out for the team. Yet he gets cheered. Like, have we already forgotten that he scored the winner a couple of weeks ago? Again, off the back of being completely booed and shunned by his own fans. Now, there is no way Perez is going to perform at his peak if he's got his own fans at home, on his back every single time he tries something. We're not going to win games like that. We're just not. And as I say, I'm not defending the performance today because we were very poor up front. I think him and Rondon, as I said, have missed chances. Perez had dragged a shot wide with his left foot. There was another really nice Perez where he sort of really nice, neat control on the edge of the box and just tried to curl it round top corner. You could see absolutely what he was trying to do, and it was a nice effort. But if we continue at home to be negative, to be on the backs, any chance that we could right wrongs that we've done on the pitch, and yeah, we got a lot of things wrong today, and I'm saying I think Rafa got some things wrong. I think we were too high up. I think we kind of almost like went for it recklessly too early in the game. I think the third goal was just a symptom of being 2-0 down and just having to throw the kitchen sink at them to get anything out of the game. So that was it was a really nice finish from Felipe Anderson, who, to be honest, all game showed some nice composure, some good technique, and I think he had Yedlin all over today, to be honest. Manquillo came in for the change of shape. It was the change that I thought they might have made at Burnley, but had we gone for a 4-4-2, but obviously we went for a 5-man at the back, which Richie ended up slotting in at left back. So Manquillo came in. Shelvey clearly deemed to not be fit enough to start today, and the rest was as you were, beyond Clark getting dropped. But I just thought that the midfield pairing of Mark Noble and Declan Rice should not be dominating the game at St James's Park. I think as a partnership, very average. I think Mark Noble as a footballer, as a Premier League footballer, is very limited and probably quite past it. Declan Rice is still learning his trade. I think he looks a great talent, but again, that pairing should not be overcoming the same midfield partnership that have thrived the last few games. It just shouldn't. We're better than that. Diarmi is better than that. Key is better than that. And I honestly think, and I appreciate that he didn't start very lightly because of fitness, and he was doing a warm down after the game at Turf Moor, which kind of he wasn't used, but it sort of highlighted his lack of fitness. I think if Shelvey's in that midfield from the start today, he doesn't let Declan Rice and Mark Noble dictate and control that fixture today. It doesn't happen. There's been a lot of debate of we can't drop Key and Diarmi because Shelvey, because they've been playing so well. How's Shelvey going to get back into the team? I tell you what, after today, Shelvey walked into the team against Wolves. the work that Shelvey does defensively and looking forward into attacking, and he's such a big part of our attacking moves. Shelvey is so important, and he has been one of our most our best performing players. So I don't think we're going to go far with saying that Shelvey shouldn't be getting in the team, because he will walk it, I promise you. Anyway, I'll end it there. It's been an awful game, really poor atmosphere, and there'll be a big question about who boycotts, who's not going to boycott, who is going to boycott all week, and there'll be a post-mortem. Rafa said that the 11th minute walk-in didn't affect things. It was literally what happened on the pitch, and we deserve better. But at the same time, people, when we're supporting the team, let's actually support them. Let's sing, let's get behind them. Let's not get on their back, because I tell you what, that's not going to help. It's not going to keep us up. We need a 12th man, especially when we've got somebody like Mike Ashley, who 100% the book stops with, it's Mike Ashley's fault. 100%. I'll leave it there. I'm really annoyed. And I think a lot of people want to forget this fixture. But Felipe Anderson costs more than essentially our starting 11, so that's another story, isn't it? I've been Adam the Two Network. Thanks very much for watching and listening as well if you've been on the podcast. Please subscribe, please like, and please rate. It helps me a lot. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. I've been Adam the Two Network. Not the result we wanted, but hopefully we can exploit a very, very nervous looking Wolves next week. Boycott or no boycott. I've been Adam. Bye-zy bye.